Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Bill Safranek Team podcast. In this show, we look back on our careers as educators and coaches. We talk with former students and people that we've coached, mentored, or influenced who have now become successful in the Lehigh Valley. So my name is Bill Safranek. I taught and coached at Freedom High School for 30 years, retired in 2016, and now I'm a real estate agent. So today I want to welcome Dennis Koehler. Dennis, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having us.
So, Dennis, why don't we just start with going a little bit back in history? So, how about, do you remember like the first time we actually might have met and any memories?
Yeah.
Of that period?
I remember I was in 8th grade, and I had a teacher named Mr. Ace for typing. Back then we still typed on typewriters.
I remember those days.
And Mr. Ace presented to our class that him and another teacher, which happened to have been you, were planning a trip for the summer to Florida with a group called Earth Shuttle, I think it was called.
Earth Shuttle, yep.
And I had never been to Florida at that point in my life and thought that it might be a pretty cool trip to go on. It sounded like there was going to be a lot of neat things that we were going to get to do that maybe people that just visited Disney and things wouldn't get to do.
Right.
And so, I came to the meeting to inform them, to inform us about it with my parents. And I think that was the first time I met you, was at the meeting.
Right.
Like,
So you were 7th grade? 8th grade?
I was in 8th grade because I went between 8th and 9th grade.
Okay. Yeah, we did those trips in the summer,
Right.
Usually for about a week. Mr. Ace was actually my typing teacher. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I think I remember hearing that.
Back, when it was East Hills Junior High School. The funny thing is that as the years went on, he became one of my best friends. We coached together. We did these Earth Shuttle trips together. We did a lot of stuff, So,
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Yeah, there was a lot of good memories made on that trip. Like, I remember going down to Orlando and, Epcot Center, SeaWorld, MGM, Universal Studios. Like, we saw it all.
Yeah. Did
And,
we do the Space Center on that one or not?
Yeah.
Cape Canaveral?
No, we did not.
Okay. Sometimes we mixed them up over the summers.
Yeah. I remember, like, we did a whole thing at Epcot Center where, like, we went in, like, way early before it opened and, like, got, like, some behind-the-scenes tours.
Yeah.
Of how they worked it at Epcot Center. I remember that.
Yeah, we always had fun doing those tours and those trips, and it was like there's education behind it. It wasn't just going to the Disney parks, and riding the rides all day.
Believe it or not, to this day, it's the only time I've ever been to the Disney parks.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been back.
Wow.
Hopefully, maybe one day I'll take my kids, but until then, here we are.
Awesome. All right, so we go back to, East Hills, and then you get to Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I know you became really active probably in the co-op program.
I did. At Freedom, first thing that made me fit at home at Freedom was I was in the band in East Hills and moved on to be in the band at Freedom.
Awesome.
And
what'd you play?
I played the saxophone. And I played all the saxophones, the alto, the tenor, and the baritone. I was the bigger kid that decided to march with a baritone in Freedom. But anyway, so I had done that, and then with that, I had always wanted to be here on the farm with my dad. This farm's been in our family quite a few generations. I'm actually the 9th generation. My brother and I are farming together as the 9th generation on this farm.
I'm going to ask you that. I knew it was up there.
We grew up working on the farm every day, basically. I mean, like, going back before we even start talking about high school, like talking about kindergarten. I remember first day of kindergarten crying because I wanted to stay home and work with Dad and didn't want to get on the bus.
Oh my God.
So
amazing.
Just loved being around my dad and my grandfather out on the farm, and just kind of always had it in my head that that's what I wanted to do. And so
awesome.
At high school, I enjoyed my friends in the band and things like that, but I had my mind made up that I really wanted to come here to the farm, so I didn't see myself in college prep. And so one day I was going through the brochure for the VOTEC, and I happened to see that there was an old program that they still actually had, just weren't really utilizing very well, but it was the FFA, which is the Future Farmers of America.
Okay.
And you had to be in the horticulture class at the Votech
Mm-hmm.
and to become a member of the FFA. And so I made sure first thing 10th grade I was ready to go to that. And
Nice.
Along with a couple of other people that were who are now successful in ag industries. One's working at a dairy bottling plant, or they're bottling milk, and another one's a superintendent at a golf course.
Oh yeah.
Working doing green maintenance and
Nice.
things like that. So we basically, the three of us with a couple of other people, revived the FFA at the Votech level.
Awesome.
We were the first ones in Bethlehem Votech to do some projects and things that hadn't been done in years with the FFA. And with that, I had the opportunity that I was at the top of my class at FFA. So 11th grade, I started working on co-op here on the farm. So I only went to school half a day and came home and worked here the other half of the day.
But you love that, right?
I did. I mean, and not because I got out of school and went home, but I loved being here and getting to do things that I wouldn't have had enough time to be able to get done if I just came here after school.
Right.
And we were one of the first classes. I don't know if you remember, like 1997, but so that means I graduated in 97. So that means it would have been like 95 was the first year of the start of the block schedule at Freedom.
Oh yeah.
So I remember like the days. Big deal for starting the block scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
What was nice about going to the block scheduling is that meant that I was done at Freedom at 10:40 and able to get here to the farm by 11 o'clock for that co-op program. So awesome. that was a big deal because I basically had almost a whole day on the farm.
Yeah.
Versus just a few hours.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said that this is 9th generation farm and probably going to go on to 10.
Yeah, the 10th generation's being raised
your kids, here. Right? How many kids do you have?
So I have 2.
Okay.
My brother has one
Kurt,
of his own along with some stepkids.
So
his daughter is 13 and very interested in the farm. She's very involved with our beef herd. She takes a lot of cows to like beef shows and things like that and represents the farm. So she's the start of the 10th generation. And then I have awesome. 2 of my own children that are young yet, only 4 and 5. And my 4-year-old son like loves being out here on the farm with us, just like I was with my dad. So we'll see. Right now he says he wants to be a farmer. We'll see. I would never push somebody to just do this. They need to love it. So we'll see when he gets older if that's what he wants to do.
Great. So really probably you have 3 owners. Your dad is Dale.
Yes.
Dale Koehler and Sons.
Yes.
And then obviously you, Dennis, and your brother Kurt, who also went to Freedom.
Right.
And Kurt knew Mrs. Safranek more than she knew me. I knew you more than.
But she wasn't even Mrs. Safranek
right.
Yet.
It was pretty close to that year, I think, when we met.
Yeah.
You know. But that's really cool that you brought this farm up with your dad and your grandparents, and you work together probably every day.
Oh yeah,
almost of the year. Like that's so unusual. You must have quite a relationship, with your family and everything.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about being on a farm, it's not a job or a career. It's more of a way of life. You're it's kind of all bundled into it, but like your day-to-day activities that you're going to do for the day for your life are based a lot around what needs to happen on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So life kind of has a lot to just do with what needs to be done. It's not so much about, tonight we're going to this event or tomorrow we're doing that. It's more about, today we need to chop corn silage and we're going to get that done. And if we get done with that, we'll have dinner together tonight.
Yeah. So it's like a day to day.
Yeah.
Unplanned. Like when do you plan your days? Like the night before? Like, all right, we need to get up tomorrow morning.
Best.
Really? All right. I always wondered.
It's very hard because there's a lot of unpredictable things, it's a hard business to plan out. I mean, yeah, there's a plan, but we always laugh that we have a plan and then a plan for a plan and a plan for that, and then throw them all away and start over.
Yeah.
Because like you can have a definite plan and you start up first thing in the morning and get out here, and it's a cold fall day, and the first piece of equipment you go to get into doesn't want to start because it's cold, or
Yeah.
a water line froze, and you're going to spend the next 3 hours getting water to animals that you weren't able to get to, or it's a hot day and
it's a rainy day.
Yep,
hot day, everything. So many different
running the
variables.
problems. Hey, we got a sick animal. You got to stop what you're doing and take care of that animal. So there's so many factors that you really learn how to live in what I call controlled chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we kind of start off with a little bit of a plan with the night before, like, okay, this is what we're going to try to get done tomorrow morning. And it's never so much a goal of what we're actually going to get done. It's more of a goal of what we're going to start with.
Wow. Well, I mean, just looking around here, you got so many different things going on, so like
Yes.
I've always lived in Bethlehem Township all my life, so I've always seen this farm. I live like a minute from here.
Right.
You farm the
And
area
you're lucky
where I
enough
live
to be next to some of the fields we farm.
Yeah, it's really cool just watching how you rotate your crops, getting in all that stuff. But I just see how much this farm has become so diversified. Like off the top of my head, and you could probably triple or quadruple the list, is like you have the farming, you have the grain, the corn, you have shipping. You're not just shipping, down the road. You're probably hitting other countries, right?
Yeah.
Like worldwide shipping. You got the cattle, the steer, the meat business. You serve to local restaurants. You got your own store here,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably only touching on a quarter of the things, but
I
there's
think
so
you
many
hit
things.
I think you hit a lot of them, but yeah, there is. I think one of the keys that's been able to keep us alive for 9 generations is being diversified. My dad always preached to us that his grandfather always told him the old scenario of you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And my dad lived by that, and he taught us that.
Really?
Growing up, he said, like you concentrate and focus on one thing. It could be the best thing you've ever done, or it could be the biggest failure you've ever had. Because there again, because we're so dependent on weather, things could be affected like diseases. A perfect option, a perfect conversation about disease is something that just happened this year, and luckily not right here, but Lancaster County, York County, Lebanon County was, and even Berks County was greatly affected this summer by avian flu.
I heard something about that
with the chickens.
Yeah,
and there was several million chickens that had to be put down in order to get that disease out of the farms that it was on.
God.
So if you're a farm that's just going to raise chickens, and you have that disease come through, and now you need to put down all your chickens, what do you have to fall back on? And that's one of the reasons that we've always stayed very diversified.
Do you have chickens?
We do.
Yeah.
Only a small
eggs,
amount,
but
yeah, only a small amount. We keep a couple hundred chickens around here, and for laying hen purposes and things like that. And we sell all the eggs right here fresh at our little farm stand that you mentioned we have. So people that want fresh brown eggs can come in and grab a dozen fresh brown eggs anytime.
I mean, I know you're so diversified, but is there like a mainstay? Like what's just getting into the business? There's a lot of business behind being a farmer. We've had a lot of talks, and like what do you count on every year? Is it the
for years our big staple? My dad always really wanted to be a crop grain farmer. And that's what he really focused on over the years. Now, like I said, he stayed diversified, but when he took over from my grandfather, he really concentrated on expanding on the crop grain side. As far as like corn, soybeans, wheat were like the major focus. And my brother and I grew up loving to run equipment out in the field and doing that.
Yeah.
And, that's still close to our heart. Out of the out of everything we do here, I really think that my brother and I could both agree that that's the thing we love doing the most. I mean, I love having cattle around, and it's fun to have some chickens, and we've raised some sheep over the years and goats and, several different things that we use in the store and things like that. And I mean, we love doing that stuff, but
Yeah.
I think we could all agree that the big thing we love is being out there and doing the crop farming. The biggest problem is here in the Lehigh Valley is the amount of housing and warehousing that's come in. It's hard to keep enough land available to make crop farming very profitable.
Yeah, that's
What people don't realize is when they drive around the Lehigh Valley and you see all this farmland, most of it's being farmed by just a few farmers. Like, everybody thinks they drive by a farm and, oh, that's that farmer. They don't realize it's probably the same tractor they saw working 10 miles away the day before.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yep.
there's only a few of us really left in the valley that are farming a good portion of the land in the valley.
Yeah.
Because people don't, when people hear of a 40 or 50 acre farm, that sounds huge to them. But as you've seen living next to some of the fields we have, we can pull into a 40 acre field and be out of there in 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's not a year's worth of work.
Right.
We're farming several thousand acres.
I was
going to
ask you how many acres. So you don't really own that land?
No,
right?
we own this farm right here that we're sitting on, and all the rest is anything from yearly rentals all the way out to multi-year leases.
Okay.
I believe right now we have somewhere in the neighborhood of some 50 or 60 different landlords that we deal with that own the land.